The year is 2013. Graphics have evolved to the point of no return. Humanity now decides wars by virtual simulations. Any and all peoples are drafted into the war, as long as they are deemed fit by the simulations. Those who have dedicated their entire existence to debauchery are considered our top warriors. For today's presentation, 6 combatants of differing fighting styles have entered the ring. Those evaluated as cringe will be disavowed and relocated to the most decrepit and depraved area in Neo-America, Chicago. Those who achieve the status of Kek will live on for the future of mankind as noble warriors. Welcome back to Kek or Cringe with Cain and Mike. Alright, so for round 1 of our great battles, we will be picking our champions. We're going to start it off easy. For my first champion, I'm going to be presenting the fetish of gore. What about you, Mike?
Gore.
What's your fetish?
Wow, that's a very broad topic, I guess. But we'll see how that pans out against my warrior, which is the dominatrix.
Dominatrix. Those go hand in hand. I feel like that's something that would be a very hard fight. You know, to give a brief explanation.
Well,
I'll send a photo.
I have to ask.
What?
I have to ask. I have to ask. What are you visualizing with gore?
When I visualize gore, we have to be safe for work, of course. We can't have it be something that YouTube would dock. Here's a simple image to describe it. 1 second. There, see that image right there?
Okay, yeah, that's safe for work.
Yeah, see, exactly. And just one image that gives a brief
okay,
explanation.
So yeah, a little asterisk near his head, just a little asterisk. You know,
little red dot.
It's a cultural footnote. Anyways, so about this gore warrior you speak of, what is their capabilities? What can they do?
So for gore specifically, it's you being into gore. You know, whenever you see something.
Right.
So it's like, if I were to give a name to it, it would be a bloodlust. You know, just the moment they see anyone bleed, it could be themselves, it could be the enemy, it would increase their adrenaline, or for lack of a better word, horniness. I guess there's not really a better word for it, but just the moment they see gore, if they deal damage, they gain more adrenaline, leading themselves to be able to deal even more damage.
So it's like a fighting will thing.
Exactly, and if they get dealt damage,
have a
they
warrior
see their own
similar
gore.
to that.
Exactly, and I think if they were to bring an item, they'd bring a potato peeler. I know, the rules of the battle are that, we probably should have explained the rules of the arena first, actually. So the rules of the arena, I'll put up a photo now. The rules of the arena are that it's hand-to-hand combat, but if there is an item that would support your fetish, you are allowed to bring it in, and you also bring in the costume of your choice. So, say a furry walks in, they're going to have a fursuit on, of course. And I think it'd be a potato peeler, because, a potato peeler isn't something that would give a huge advantage. It's not like a knife or anything, but it's still something that helps highlight and allow them to see the gore of it, you know? Because, a potato peeler is not strong enough to provide the biggest advantage, but it definitely works.
Correct.
So what about a dominatrix? What would be an image you would assort with that?
Well, the main factor I want to bring into this is the dominatrix is pet.
Pet.
And that is what.
So
gives
are they
it
the one that is
here.
being a pet, or the one that owns the pet?
They are the one that controls the pet.
Okay.
The pet in this scenario was specifically bred for combat, so it may please its dominatrix.
They bring their own pet?
Yes, that is one item.
Oh, okay.
That is this specific pet. It was completely trained to just protect her and to satisfy all of her needs. And her needs at that moment are just to obey her commands. And what are her commands? To rip her opponent to shreds. And that is how she's effective in combat.
Should I state that, unless... we should probably state this. Hopefully you agree with this. Unless the fetish is specifically surrounding, would specifically lead to that... I don't know, stat being increased. This is a typical, average male or female. Right?
Yes, it's a typical man.
Yeah. So, this isn't just some, 7'2" buffed, jacked dude,
no.
At top speeds. You know?
I think this is the best way to visualize it. You know, he's a simple man. He's a simple man.
He's a hardworking man.
there's a hardworking man underneath all that, but he's an animal, like deep down,
Yeah,
and now
exactly.
he's letting that show.
Um, Here's the thing: is like the moment you bring it into a 2v1, that's when things get unsettling. Because I don't know if the dominatrix, they probably won't put up much of a fight once the
You
actual pet
have to
itself is
understand that,
killed.
yes, that's what I'm about to say.
Yeah,
You have to understand that a dominatrix is not completely in power all the time. They need to rein in their
yeah,
subordinate. And with that comes like the average trait of just not inherently being strong, but loving the feeling of being strong, you know? So
yeah.
that's why she must rely. That's
It's
why
like
it's like polygamy between them. They
I
rely on
was
each
gonna say
other.
it's more like a Pokemon trainer. Like the moment the Pokemon dies, the trainer's kind of fucked, like battle wise.
Yeah. Yeah, like she wouldn't do well. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's more of a conversation of who would win in the fight: the dude with the potato peeler that's into gore, or the pet that's designed purely to fight.
Right.
I
I
feel
mean, I guess that goes to who loves what more. Who's willing to give more for them?
is the
Would a
pet willing
man
to fucking
are
die?
humans like more powerful when they're selfish towards themselves, or they're selfless to someone else?
I feel like at some point the pet, once it starts getting its skin peeled off, it's gonna give up.
Do you believe that? Hmm.
It just depends.
True.
Like
It
not
is a
not upon the
subordinate.
first peeling, but like as you said, they do sometimes have to rein in like the loyalty, I guess. So like it's not always gonna
Yes.
pan out.
True. Very true. Well,
So I feel like it all depends. I don't want to say it's a tie, but it's like it's something that we couldn't really test properly, you know? Like it
I
all
mean, in a real world scenario, like what gore fetishes is gonna go up against a pet? Like,
true. I think it's the potato peeler that kind of like reins it in, you know? It's like if a gore
true, yeah,
fetish only,
you have
yeah,
a specific weapon.
exactly. Like if it were hand to hand, the pet would 100% win. But it's the potato peeler, even though it's tiny, it still provides an advantage that in the long term could like eventually human instinct's gonna kick in. That pet's gonna start playing to try and like win its favor over. It's gonna try and be a pet just to a different owner.
Ah,
That's what
yes,
I'm
that is
thinking.
very true. So we decided we have to rank these
We have to have a
match by
winner. It's
match.
to the death.
Right. So in this scenario, sadly, because of that potato peeler, the pet switches sides basically
Yeah, like
due to
eventually the
this
pet's.
overwhelming domination.
I mean, you get your skin peeled
Oh
off. You're gonna try and
wow.
convince him.
The conviction the gore fetishes feels would probably entice the pet in this
Yeah,
situation.
like the guy with
Just more
bloodlust
so than the
doesn't care whose
domination.
blood it is. He's willing to allow the pet to help him gore up the dominatrix, probably.
Yeah. And without her pet, she's
Fucked.
practically fucked, yes.
Yeah, without a dog, she's
So
just an old lady.
she's a fucking cringe ass old lady. I am very
Exactly.
disappointed.
I give the dominatrix, sadly, I do love the idea of that fetish, and I feel like in a different scenario it could succeed. But specifically when paired up against the gore fetish, it's cringe.
I have to agree. The use of a potato peeler is very novel. So I would give
It
the
just so
gore
happened.
fetishes
It just so
a
happened to
cat.
come in. Yeah. All right. Well, with round one complete, we got to bring up our next fetish. Since I went first, how about you go first this time, Mike?
All right, I guess I will go first. Well, my second combatant is, well, for lack of a better term, a tank. My second combatant is an inflationist.
And it,
Yes.
ooh, well, you know what? To pair with a similar style of look for the fetish, the fighter I will be choosing is is someone into
I would love to see
horseplay.
this. Horseplay.
I mean,
Elaborate,
that is
please.
a very comical representation of it. I think to find a better image would be something along the lines of this. Basically, horseplay is a person that wants to be a
Oh,
horse. It's like a pet, kind of.
what? Oh,
It's like a
oh,
self-conscious
intriguing.
pet. It's more like a
Self.
subgenre of pony. It's someone that trains themselves to be as strong and as fast as a horse so that they can specifically serve the person that rides them.
So
There's
they require a second
they don't
person?
necessarily require a second person, but they definitely do better with a second person. I think in this specific scenario, because
Okay.
in my mindset, I was preparing for one-on-ones. Um, the weapon of choice they brought in was the steel horse mask that they wear, because like that's a leather one, but like these fucked up individuals like have full-on metal cage snouts. And I think the
Jesus. Like
advantage
Mad Max?
like Mad Max, yeah, but like as a horse, and they want to fucking be a horse instead of a raider. And the advantage that's provided by this, for a for a horseplay fetishist specifically, is just pure strength and endurance. In training to try and be a horse, they've become strong enough to at least be able to properly carry a full on human at like a proper running speed. I'm not saying that they can like tank hits or like that they're the strongest man alive. They're not like this jacked dude, but they definitely are strong enough to like properly run while piggybacking a human on their back. So they have that strength and endurance to them to be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if I may, I would like to indulge a little bit on the inflationist
Oh yes,
aspect of
please
this
do. I want to see
because
how that would provide an advantage.
what I see this as is ultimate defense really. It is practically made to be a comforting experience, you know? Like the crushing sensation is described as being comforting, but that same crushing sensation comes from the fact that it's all expanding, which in and of itself creates armor. And the armor is what's important here, along with the crushing aspect of it. See, an inflationist is able to, at will, inflate and deflate certain aspects of their suit that they wear
Like
for
how fast?
maximum
How fast are we
pleasure.
talking about? Because like if you see inflation videos, that shit takes like 8 minutes.
It does. It really does. And what I see it mostly as is imagine an air mattress, and that's what you get when you have an
Yeah.
inflationist.
Here I found a better image of someone that's actually into horseplay. So 1 second. There's like
Let me
someone that's
see.
actually into it. You see they get the mask and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I see him.
That's
I see
probably
him.
the more safe for work image I can find of it.
Yeah, that's someone who's into inflation. Let's
That
just leave
makes
it there.
sense. All right, so here's the thing: is
Yeah,
like I think in this case, whilst I think it's the exact opposite situation we're having now, where purely because of one specific stat, the other stat is immediately blocked out. Because what the steel mask would have allowed them to do was it would give them ramming power. You know, like a horseplay fetishist could tank you, could run at you at top speeds and just cleave your head in with
but
their
that
steel
no,
mask.
that wouldn't.
I know
But the
exactly. With
inflation is a
inflation,
complete. That
it's
is a
just gonna
complete
bounce
like
off.
indestructible force. You don't understand.
I know. It's
It's
not
gone.
indestructible. I feel like when it comes to inflation, something that
There
was
is
like,
no
if
piercing
it,
that comes with that mask.
I know. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If there were piercing, you could get past that, but that's not gonna happen with the steel mask. The steel mask is gonna bounce off. It's just
And
completely immune.
this is why I also have to bring in the aspect of endurance that you brought up earlier. The inflationist does not need to move at all.
Exactly. He
What
can
the
sit still and
inflationist
eat a
needs to
bag of
do,
chips.
what the inflationist needs to do is crush you. And
Exactly.
with all of that accessories, it's going to make it very easy for something to go wrong. That's all I have to say on that. It could crush his nose, it can block his windpipe, it could slide down and just do something to
Are we
his jaw
talking
as it
about
seems it's
to the
latched.
user or to the opponent?
No, to the horse player.
Okay, to the horse player. That's what I figured that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
It's just like,
honestly, sorry, continue.
do you believe that the ineffectiveness of the horse player comes into play, or do you also see the way I see the inflationist,
I see it
in
as
that
both.
they wait it out, even though the horse, what is that?
Just call it horseplay. There's not really a good term for it.
Horse playing around, boy. Yeah. Anyway, the horse player, while they while they excel in stamina as they have trained to be a horse, the the fact that it actually has to spend that stamina while the inflationist doesn't just negates that quality entirely.
I agree completely. I think specifically what's going to happen is the horseplay would try and ram the inflationist, but due to having no piercing power, they're just going to bounce right off. Like, no matter what, it's
Right,
just going to
right,
smack dab and nothing's going to happen. And it's either going to end with the inflationist literally crushing the horse player, or with the horse player just running out of stamina and passing out, and then the inflationist just picking them up and ramming them into the spikes.
right. Well,
Or for a comedic effect, the horse player would try and ram into the inflationist and bounce off into the spikes. I feel like that'd be a funny visual.
boing, boom,
Like really comedic, like comic sound effects.
boing. Yeah.
So I
Well,
think in this specific case, sadly, horseplay loses. Even though it's my fighter, I wholeheartedly agree that inflation would be the winning fetish and would be the most keck of them all.
hmm. Well, in this scenario, as much as the horse player exceeds in a lot of areas that the inflationist seems to lack in, it is those qualities that it exceeds in that don't really affect the inflationist, sadly. So for that reason, I have to give it a wholehearted cringe.
Yeah, sadly. Alright, well, that continues round two. I don't think we're really, like, finding a specific winner, but if we're going off winning, we're tied at the moment 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah, so I think
One to
this is the
one.
third round. It might be the tiebreaker. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe it'll be a tie. Since you won this time, I think we'll just have it be whoever loses goes next.
Yeah.
I think honestly for my third one, I'm gonna have to go with something that's very simple but very effective, and that'd be someone that's really into tickling, a tickling
Oh
fetish.
boy.
Yeah. Here's a good
Wow.
example to show for it.
Yeah, that's. I think everyone knows what tickling
Exactly.
is.
Everyone knows what tickling is, but a tickling fetish takes it to the extreme. It's both a
Right.
combination of taking the joy of tickling someone else and being tickled specifically. And so knowing being good at
Right.
tickling and being completely fetishized with it, this person knows every ticklish point on the body. They know all of
Okay,
your
let's
weak.
save the explanation for when I introduce mine.
All right. All right. Well then introduce
I
yours
did
then.
not. This is a bit of a mouthful to say. It is the fetish known as auto assassmophilia.
Could you
And
spell
what
that out?
that is,
Like could you post
auto
that? Sorry, I meant like post it as an I post it as a message for
ASSASSMOPHILIA.
everybody else to know. I'm too fucking
Well,
lazy to type that out myself.
see, my idea was I would just fucking edit that in, Kane.
Okay, well post it because I don't know how to spell it either. You fucking bitch.
Well, fuck you. You're
Okay,
fucking
bitch.
pussy.
Okay, father.
Okay. Autoassassimophilia is very similar to what you described the gore fetishes as. The autoassassimophilia person is attracted to the idea of being close to death. And now what this means is that
Oh.
they only feel sexual pleasure when they feel their life is nearing its end or on the verge of ending. And this comes into play with a lot of adrenaline and a lot of natural primal instincts that just come naturally. And the best way I could explain this is with the star known as Sylvester Stallone from the First Blood movie,
I've never
famous
seen
for the
First Blood, but I
Rambo
do know who
character.
Stallone is.
Yes, the Rambo character.
And how would he be best at describing this? Just because he's
Well,
always
he
close to death? This time
in
he's
the
fighting for his
movie
life?
he suffers a bit of a mental breakdown and he regresses back into his Vietnam War days
Hmm.
and he goes on a warpath basically. He escapes some sort of prison, if I recall correctly, and he sees the officers chasing him down as the enemy, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it is because that he feels that he needs to kill that he becomes a fucking monster in the movie.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I would explain someone who has autoasthmophilia.
That makes a bit of sense. I think that's an okay explanation. Um,
All right.
Here's the thing though, is
So,
like this is entirely dependent on one main question. Would being tickled make you feel close to death?
hmm.
Because like
Does
technically speaking,
tickling
tickling is like
does
the laughing is
tickling
a response to the danger of
but
tickling,
it
but
is it actual is it actual euphoria being released in tickling? I'm not really sure what goes on during tickling.
I think if I recall correctly, like I don't know, I'm no bio, I'm not, I don't know anything about humans. Like tickling is just a response, not necessarily in fear, but is like a response to not liking it specifically. Even though we associate laughing with having fun.
Bro, stop.
Oh, please, oh,
Stop,
please, I'm
stop,
gonna
stop.
pee myself.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. So like
So,
my idea of the course of attack would that be he would essentially disable you with the tickling, and then as he's continuously disabling you via tickling, he just slowly brings you over and throws you into the spikes. That was my plan of attack
yeah.
specifically with him. But here comes that thing is like, would tickling give you
Closest
that
to death.
adrenaline? Getting to the spikes would definitely leave you close to death.
That's
Like
what, yes, I
exactly.
was gonna bring that into question.
But like
That coming in contact with the spikes or any sort of weapon you would have come at him with, that almost immediately mitigates like anything you could do to him.
exactly. But like here's the thing is if tickling isn't considered a response, by the time you're near the spikes, you're already still disabled by the tickling specifically. You don't have control of your muscles. You ever seen how hard it is to
Well,
fucking move when you're being tickled?
if you think about the kind of person who would be into autoasthmophilia, there's someone who's probably done a lot of really just a lot of
Fucked up
self
shit.
harm to themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, to get to that point of death or
Barcode
just to feel like they did.
arms.
Yes, barcode arms, all that. Would tickling really be effective to someone like that? Do you
That's what
think
I'm
someone
thinking.
that soft skinned would be into that
Well,
kind of
even like, well, the question is like, even fucking hardcore people still are ticklish. You know, like everybody's ticklish in some capacity.
do he look ticklish?
Yeah, he do look ticklish. I want to finger
He
his
kind of
armpits.
crying, bro. Bro, do we got an armpit fetishes?
I want to smell him.
The armpit fetishes uses his fucking like pit fucking
All he
hair.
uses is headlocks. That's the one thing he knows. That's his one grandmaster move.
He does a suplex on you. All right, so in this, it comes down to if you can actually paralyze him
Yeah.
and get him to the
But
spikes.
like everybody has at
Which
least one ticklish spot.
true, true.
And if the tickler knows every single weak point, he's bound to find it eventually. It's just the question of whether or not he can get it before he's also killed.
But would a ticklish part would someone who's like into tickling someone, would they be um would they be like noticeably more fit than the average person or something like that?
It depends, cause like if you
Would
have
they
you seen
be
the
average?
documentary? Have you seen the documentary about competitive tickling?
If not.
There's this entire like underground ring of ticklist fetishes. Um, People with the fetish of tickling that hire like these buff men to just tickle each other on camera. And the question is like some people would probably be fit, but I feel like that's not something that would specifically come with it. So I'd assume that both people in this fight are just average humans.
Hmm.
You know, like at most this guy's 6 feet something.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. So, thinking about it further, I guess paralyzing, like in the hardest sense of what tickling is, it's paralyzation.
Exactly, because your
And
fucking muscles contort.
that negates your drive to experience death, I guess. So
I'm
in
just thinking
this,
like specifically, they know they're dying, but by the time it actually comes, they can't move their muscles properly due to the tickling.
yeah, they atrophied.
Yeah, like at most they can slap the guy. You know, like when you try and slap the person fucking tickling you.
Right, right, right. Hmm. It's a close call for sure. Especially since this man is very much like the Gore you had earlier, who was practically a perfect warrior. It's
Yeah.
just this one has a similar yet slightly different approach to that adrenaline, you know?
Yeah, it's like a more
He
last ditch
the
effort rather than stacking.
Yeah, the Gore barely needed a setup, and this one needs a lot of setup, really.
True. But with the gore, it was like, it was a stacking effect, you know? Like, you still had to get the first hit to do anything. If you didn't get that first hit, you were screwed. But with,
Does
Assassinophilia.
a gore fetish? Does a gore fetish? I'm bringing this up because
I
it's a
know.
little late, but does a gore fetishist like gore on themselves? Is that a
Yeah,
common
I
thing?
was thinking that. I was thinking that at first, but I feel like the fear of being stabbed overloads the fact that, ooh, I see stab wound, horny.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
why. Plus,
Well,
it would have been too broken. You know, it would have been too OP to like become stronger with each hit.
yeah. Well, the autoassassmophilia, while it is practically a what is that word? A loose cannon
It
in the
is.
right scenario, I think in the form
It's a
of
glass cannon, not a
parallel.
loose cannon.
No, I guess it can be a loose cannon, is what I mean. It's a loose cannon in that it can hit hard, but it only works
That's what
so
a glass
much.
cannon is. A glass cannon
Well,
is
it's
it
the
hits
same.
hard,
It's
but
the
it can get
same
fucked
exact
over
term.
easily. No, it's not
It's
a
the same exact
Mike. A
term.
loose cannon means that
No,
you don't
I
know what it's
was.
gonna do. Glass cannon means it deals a lot of damage, but
No,
it
it
also
doesn't. That's
breaks
not what a
easily.
loose cannon means.
Look up the definition for loose cannon right now.
I will fucking personally
I will
drive
personally.
to your house. I will personally drive down to Colorado and I will just fucking read this to you at night and then I will beat you to
The
death with the
definition
book
for
that I
loose
brought.
cannon. The def.
Loose cannon. Loose cannon. An unpredictable, uncontrollable person who is likely to cause unintentional damage. That is what a loose cannon is.
And
Exactly.
here is what a glass cannon is.
A glass cannon is a popular term in gaming, especially online gaming. Oh, bro, you're a fucking
Bro,
gamer. That's
fucking
so
gamer,
swag, dude.
bro. I'm a
Do you
gamer.
like Futaba? Do you like Futaba from Persona 5, bro? I bet she likes you back, huh? Yeah, I bet she really does. Okay, where it refers to a character class that is remarkably high offensive power, but a low defense. Well, Kane, both of us are right. Why can't we just accept this?
Fuck you.
We're fuck you, whatever.
Alright,
Fuck you. The
anyways,
tickling
who
person
wins?
wins.
Okay.
The
Okay.
tickling person wins. They're fucking keck because they can stop like anything really.
They know every single fucking weak point. They're the James Bond of fetishes. Actually, not James Bond. What's a more accurate comparison? They're the agent. No,
No way, dude.
nah, James Bond. Fuck it.
The
I
Agent
don't watch
Zero.
it.
The agent. What's the fucking agent from
Hitman.
Hitman?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
The
21.
bald fellow.
The bald fella.
Agent.
Dude, he made himself bald so his
Agent
hair doesn't tickle you.
26.
Also, I
Agent
forgot to mention
26 or
it.
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I forgot to mention it, but his item he was gonna bring in was a feather.
Yeah, but that's
That
actually specific, a far more specific fetish if you didn't know that. I forget the name, but as I was looking and researching for this video, I found that there's a separate like subcategory for
Mike
just
went on
tickling. Like,
E621 and clicked random.
yeah. There's like a fucking separate category for just tickling and feather tickling.
There's a
It's
lot of
bizarre.
weird subgenres. It's fucking bullshit. Oh well, people like weird
Uh,
things.
uh, but there's people who can't get off to anything but that, you know.
Yeah. Well, since we've done our
They're
3 of 3,
fucking
and I've managed to win the best 2 out of 3, I'm not gonna go pride and joy and say that I'm the greatest, I'm the best, because this was like a battle of degeneracy. But I think we should do like some
true.
bonus rounds, because like we each pick. I'm just gonna say it flat out. We each picked 5 people. We picked 5 specific fetishes as backups, and if we were gonna have repeats or like ties that were the exact same fetish, we were gonna do something else. So let's see if our
I'm smiling
backups
right now.
are any
Hold on, let
different.
me just say I'm smiling right now because I'm glad we did that. Because I picked tickling as one of
You
mine.
picked tickling as one of yours? Damn.
Yes,
And
yes. On
honestly,
hold on,
I'm
hold on.
surprised.
I have the actual name here. It is known as Tital Titalagnia.
Who
Titalagnia. I'll
cares?
spell it out this time.
Who's gonna look at their funny fetish and give it a cool name? Who's gonna try and give an epic name?
Titalagnia. Titalagnia.
Like I get like a scientist classifying as that, but who goes, I really like being tickled. I should call it titalanagnia because I like the word tit.
Titties.
Titties.
So
Ayo.
yeah, I'm glad we had that sort of failsafe. If before we get into this, may I ask what is your final round pick?
My final round pick. See, that's the thing.
Yes.
I have 1 week link. Um, Actually, due to the way it is, I think mine would be an exhibitionist. Do you know what an exhibitionist is?
Exhibitionists. Yes, I know what those
All
are.
right, one
Do you
sec.
have any sort of reference, like a man with like binoculars,
I mean, it's hard
little
to show
boy
something
peeping into
that
the closet door,
it's hard to show something that isn't say NSFW, but I think this is about as close as you can get.
someone with VR goggles? Oh,
Do you know an exhibitionist is someone who
yes.
likes being
Exhibitionist, yeah, someone who likes who likes to be nude. I know.
in public specifically?
Right.
Yeah, so that's about as good as you
Huh.
can get.
Well, I mean,
Here's the main
the
benefit. There's two specific benefits that come from this. Is the first is that it's a distraction. You know, whether they're male or female, fighting someone naked is always going to be more distracting than fighting someone clothed. But the
hmm,
specific item they're bringing in is, in fact, clothing, because they're going to walk in wearing it, and then they're going to take that off. Because they specifically want to get naked in public. They don't just want to. Walking in already naked wouldn't be as pleasurable as walking in and then stripping. And
oh
upon
boy.
stripping, they're able to use their own clothes as like pseudo weapons. You know, like it's not much better than fists, but like being able to choke someone out with a pair of denim pants is far more effective than your own fists.
Wow. Is this your wink link that you
This wasn't my
said?
weak link. Do you want me
Okay, this
to? Are
wasn't
we
your
gonna
wink
do
link.
a fifth round?
Well,
I
no,
feel
we
okay.
can't because I
True,
already
true.
got bonked.
Because of that, I was gonna
So
say my weak link would be someone that's into horror porn. Because
that's basically gore.
yeah, no. There's a specific genre. Basically, horror porn is like monsters and shit. You know, like
You like
Cthulhu
2 seconds
stuff.
ago said, "Oh, bro, subgenres are stupid." That's what you
Kind of.
said like a
I
few
know,
minutes
but
ago.
like
So isn't that
the different. They aren't into gore, is what I'm saying. Is they're into messed up things, but not specifically gore. And the only benefit that would have come from it was that they would have a lack of fear out of seeing every other fucked up thing. But
okay? Oh,
like I said,
that would have been Kane. Oh, you're fucked. That would have been such a good counter.
to what?
Oh, I feel bad. Well, it
Oh
sucks
no.
that your guy's an exhibitionist, but still retains human fear because my pick is someone who is into formicophilia, otherwise known as the fetish of being covered in bugs. And the
Bugs.
yes, in
Uh,
any form of
mm,
bugs. That is, yeah, I think you
their
can see
weapon
where
is
this
a
is going.
jar of bees.
Well, this is the horror villain known as the Candyman.
Yeah.
Comes to
I think
you,
most people know who
has
the
bees.
Candyman is.
Uh, I think people know the name, but not like the actual story, because I don't
True.
know too much about the Candyman. But
Dude, you can't say
anyways,
his name 3 times. You can't say his name one more time. You say
I
his name.
said it
You,
twice.
you say his name again, you're fucked. You can't say it again.
Okay, buddy. I'll say the fucking cringe man.
The fucking cringe man will come for you, bro. He will
Don't
fucking
say
murder
the
you.
cringe man. He's gonna come and kill you.
Don't say the cringe man 3 times. He'll fucking murder you, dude.
Anyways, you just said it 3 times.
I said it twice. I said it twice. I swear on my mama. On my mama. On my
On
mama.
my mama,
On
though.
my mama. I said it twice.
Okay, listen. This, yeah, I think you're stalling because you know how fucked you are in this scenario.
Continue.
Am I wrong?
Continue.
I think you're really
What are they?
fucked in this.
What specific insect? I mean, I'm assuming bees by the photo, but like, what specific?
It's classified as any form of small insect, and those could be ants, flies,
But
bees,
what do you think he would bring
spiders,
in specifically for
beetles.
combat?
What I believe he would bring in for combat was a very specific style of spider. I didn't think of what species it was, but I thought of spiders that are really really hairy,
Like
like
tarantulas, but
tarantulas.
smaller,
Yes,
because it's a
smaller
tiny insect.
tarantulas.
I know
Yes,
I don't
and
know any names, but I have seen spiders like that.
yes, yes, yes. See, what my train of thought was he was going to use them as fear tactics. And that is why I think if you chose the horror,
That would
that would have been
totally
a
that would have been a
complete.
complete counter, and now you're the complete counter. Cause why is a
Do
naked
you
guy
feel
want to go
bad?
fucking touch spiders? Wow, I'm
Yeah,
fucked.
I don't think. Wow,
Okay,
Kane,
here's the one
that's.
form of defense is that potentially you could use the clothes as like a form of padding between you and the spider, but at the same time
But it's only so much.
yeah, it's only so much. I mean,
See,
the
what I
spiders,
visualize someone who has pharmacophilia, they're completely covered head to toe in spiders,
yeah, the
but
spiders
they
aren't
don't need to
combative. Okay,
show that.
we're just gonna say it immediately, right? The spiders aren't gonna attack.
Mm,
That's too busted. I mean,
they can climb on them, but they're not gonna like bite them and
oh,
kill them with
that's what I'm getting
venom.
at. Is like if you coat yourself in bees, the bees aren't gonna fucking fight back. They're just like
Yeah,
they'll get
yeah,
onto
yeah.
you. They'll climb onto the person grabbing because of course they're spiders.
That's
They'll
why
want to
I'm
go
saying
everywhere.
this all relied on fear, and I'm so fucking happy you didn't pick your wink link quotation marks.
Okay, listen. This was the only situation in which that weak link would have worked. Okay,
But
I know.
that's so fucking crazy, dude. I would have felt so bad if I was you.
I
Anyways,
feel a little disappointed,
so
but it was the bonus round, so.
yeah, I guess I can have this one,
Haha,
right?
I win anyways. Get bean, haha.
Haha, we like pharmacophilia, we like dominatrix, we like inflation, we like pharmacophilia, we like autoesthemophilia, we like
gore, we like gore.
we like gore, we like gore, we like horseplay, we like horseplay.
Imagining a bunch of like toddlers wearing horse masks. We like horseplay. There's like one dude in a fucking bubble suit because he's like inflation in the background.
Oh my god. Hey bro, I gotta ask, what would this fetish be? Who knocked that up? That's the Chimera Ant Queen. Who knocked that up?
Scalies, probably. Well, scalies are into lizards, furries are into animals. I know there's a specific genre for
True.
insects, I just don't know what it's called.
Insecties XD. Huh? Ah, ah, Alright.
Alright, but yeah,
Well,
basically, like, without even, like, going into details, it's pretty fucking obvious at the moment that 80 spiders crawl into the exhibitionist, who's butt naked,
crawl
is
right
gonna
onto
freak
his
out.
cock, dude, and just
Right
start like
onto his dick.
nibbling on his urethra. Well, not nibbling because he can't like
But, like,
fight.
still
Start
squirming
crawling
around
right in
on
there.
it.
Yeah,
What spider
he's
is gonna
fucked.
crawl into someone's urethra, Mike?
Dude, are
On
you
it?
just gonna
Yes.
knock my
Into
personal
it?
experiences?
No. Mike,
You don't know me.
I know
You
you're
don't know
fucked,
me.
but I highly doubt a tarantula has gone inside your wiener.
Did I didn't ask for it.
Alright, well, anyways, it's pretty clear that, and no matter how you spin it, the exhibitionist is gonna lose. So for this bonus round
Yeah.
specifically, for the loser's bracket, you win.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate
yes.
that.
Mm-hmm. Alright, well, this is, I think this has been an interesting episode of Cacker Cringe. I think it's definitely
bit
a
of a
different one.
weird like spin.
Bit
you
of a
know?
weird spin on it, yeah. I mean, how many other people do you see putting different fetishes in a deathmatch scenario?
I don't know, man, but like if we go with what we planned with and we have visuals with this and we
It'll be good.
actually show a spider going down a man's urethra, who knows?
Ah, man, just cut straight to an image of a tarantula just poking one of its 8 legs inside another dude's urethra as he goes, ah!
He goes, "Oh no, bro.
Dude, no, how could this happen to me, bro? Who could have seen this coming?
Don't
No
go in there. You're
way.
so hot.
No
You're
way.
so hot, bro.
Bro, don't put a spider in your penis. Your dick's so fat.
Do you think there's someone who's into like explosions? Like
maybe.
just the feeling of like getting their eardrums blown out. Then again, it probably only worked once.
Perhaps. She just only works once. That took me way too long to get.
Yeah, as we said, that was a interesting video to say the very, very least.
Yeah.
Um, as a lot may know already, we lost the last episodes. Episode 3 specifically. We
Completely
lost
dead.
episode 3.
No, non
Yeah,
existent. Will
one
never
of our
happen.
most fun videos to record.
Mike, shut up.
Um, it was
Mike.
sadly it was. I cannot shut up about the truth on this
Shut
one.
up.
I have to vent. I have to vent.
I
I've been
don't
bottling this
care
up for
about your
fucking six
problems.
months.
I don't care about you whining about an episode that didn't come out. Okay? I don't care. Can we hard cut to the outro? Try a little harder to find the gem within his heart.